Welcome to The Deepest Cut, a podcast about the movement from painful experiences to meaningful music. I'm your host, Matt Connor. There's a prominent idea in Celtic spirituality concerning, quote, thin places. It's the belief that there are literal portals or places here on Earth in which the divide between the sacred and the secular are closer than ever. It's the notion of a thin veil that comes to mind, and the idea is that there's a sense of transcendence palpable in such spaces. If you've ever traveled around Ireland, it's rather easy to believe that thin places really exist. For Matt Wheeler, a singer-songwriter from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, a thin place became a hoped-for reality while enduring a season marked by trials on several fronts. Matt chronicled this recent season in the Valley in his deeply personal single, Worn Thin, that released in 2024. The descriptor is an apt one, after meeting suffering on myriad fronts, and yet Matt says that this lamentation of being, quote, worn thin, gave way to a thin place of his own. It was a spiritual space in which God was somehow closer than ever, a portal made possible by pain. On this episode of The Deepest Cut, we sit down with Matt Wheeler to talk about his penchant for making music based on literary works. Literally, you'll love them. There are whole works inspired by the likes of C.S. Lewis and Wendell Berry. But Matt also talks about how health concerns gave way to a healthier spirituality through these thin spaces. We hope you enjoy our conversation here with Matt Wheeler. Hello and welcome back to The Deepest Cut. My name is Matt Connor. I'm your host. I have an affinity for this guest on his name alone. There cannot be enough Matts in the world. Matt Wheeler is with me today. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing great. There are a lot of us, especially our generation.
Yeah. It just felt like anyone who was having babies from a certain range of years all just thought Matthew was like this illuminated identity.
No one else is going to choose this one. My parents had told me like they had no idea that it would be such a common name, but people don't misspell my name though. So
They do?
No, they don't.
Oh, they don't. I thought you said they did. I was like, wow, that would be really amazing. My instance is my Matthew is my middle name and Jared is my first name.
Oh,
but they spelled it Jerod, so it's like Gerard.
Hmm.
And then they flipped a coin because my mom actually hated that name, but my dad won the coin toss. So somehow they both thought my name was the best. Matthew is the only name they could agree upon, but it was my middle name. And so I've been reaping the benefits of that ever since. Like, elementary roll call, you just wanted to like wither and die. You're like, is Gerard here? No, it's not.
No, but Matt's here. Yeah. It sounds like it's a good screener to see if people actually know who you are too. Like someone calls and I was like, is Gerard or Jared there? Is like,
right.
I don't think you know me. So.
Those scam calls that are so abundant today or something. No, I don't want to sell you my house. Well, hey, we're so glad to be with you today. Thanks for carving out the space.
Absolutely.
Here on The Deepest Cut, we discuss the songs that a songwriter will identify as the most painful or most difficult to, at least that they want to talk about publicly. And for you, the song is Worn Thin, but I want to start at a different place. One, I guess I'll say this, the reason I'm talking about this, Worn Thin, when I listen to it, just reminds me so much of like liminal space. That's what you're describing, liminal space. And we can get into that in a second. But, I've been so influenced by the writings of Richard Rohr and his discussions of liminal space. And I know for you, so many of your songs are inspired by, the writings of other, you've had songs from C.S. Lewis and Wendell Berry, many songs, and whole projects dedicated to literary works. Just wondering if this song fits that. And do you find that most of your songwriting efforts are kind of birthed out of what you're reading?
I would say the last two projects have really I've dug into the niche of the literary inspired songs. I find it's a good elevator pitch if someone's like, "What kind of music do you play?" I'm like, "I specialize in songs based on classic works of literature," because that's not that's different than what people rather than I'm a bearded white guy who sings thoughtful poetic songs. It's like there are a lot of us doing that. There's nothing wrong with that at all, but or like James Taylor has spoken of himself as a professional autobiographer. Like there's a lot of people doing that sort of thing, and that's cool. Works great for James Taylor and many others. I find that it really helps for me to have a concept or a prompt that I'm writing about, because I mean I have a full time job outside of music. I'm a special needs parent. My son has intellectual disabilities and autism, and husband, and plenty of hats that I wear, and even creatively, like I also write poetry and I write reviews and devotionals and things like that. So when I do sit down to songwrite, it's really helpful that I have like a particular idea in mind, and I tend to lean toward great works that, like, doing songs, like it's like translating a great work, like say some of Wendell Berry's short stories, like on my album A Hard History of Love. It's a chance to introduce people, because it's usually introducing with him, or pointing them back to Lewis or Tolkien or others like that. It's like this timeless story. It's like we already have something that we can relate about, and in some ways like my own life comes through, my own feelings and thoughts and beliefs, but it gives me like a literary device, kind of get past the inner critic, and be able to get, like, not starting with a blank page necessarily. It's like I've got a chapter of like Watership Down or something else that I'm like, I want to retell this artfully and pull out like the deeper meanings. So then your question of how Worn Thin fits with this, it doesn't really, because occasionally I write more autobiographical songs. My song Number 8, for instance, is a song I wrote for my son and used to sing to him as a lullaby, and it's still in my set list. But yeah, so this is, and we'll talk more about the origin story of how it came about, but it tends to be more, I go more project based. It's like there's really ever since my album Wonder of It All, which Chris Hoisington from Brothers McClurg and Old Bear Studio basically encouraged me, like, dig into that thing you do, because I had songs with inspired by Les Mis and The Old Man the Sea and some others, just like here and there on some past albums. But he's like, I'm hearing you talk a lot about that sort of thing and interacting with audiences, so I think you ought to dig into that. And so I did. All the songs on Wonder of It All are inspired by specific works, and then also there's audio essay pieces that kind of introduce, kind of making it like if I was in your living room, like a house concert or church concert situation. So there's that, where it's very project based. But this Worn Thin I released as a single because it's not necessarily meant to be like part of a larger project per se. It came out of a life situation and a few pretty cool doors that opened up, that really shaped it, that I'm sure we'll talk about further.
I want to go back to something you said before we dive into Worn Thin, which is that you said instead of starting with the blank slate, like going off of a creative prompt of someone else, like going off of a work kind of allows you to jump into that. Is that a little bit of the sort of internal doubt or struggle you face with that? I mean, does that feel more daunting to start with the blank slate, to start with just you?
I mean, I pretty much always got like some like running list of lyric ideas and voice memos. Like I'll be around the house or in the car or something, and start like humming a tune, and be like, oh, I don't think this is someone else's song yet. Maybe I should I should kind of make note of this. Maybe I'll use it for later. So I mean, I'd rarely be going from like nothing. I mean, like Rich Mullins said, there's so much beauty around us for just two eyes to see, but everywhere I go, I'm looking. Like I do try, like whether it's songwriting, or I've been getting back into poetry, which I did before songwriting, and like I think that I'm always trying to pay attention, be astonished, and tell about it, to quote Mary Oliver, because I'm all about some really great quotes. If people have said really really good things before, I think they're worth retelling. Anyway, yeah. So I wouldn't say that it's so much that like if you told me right now, I'll give you an hour to write a song on anything, I could think of some things. I wouldn't say I'm paralyzed by the blank page, but I would just say that when I do take the time to sit down, it's nice if I have some material to work with already, some metaphorical firewood that I've been building up, and now it's like go ahead and could you make a fire now? And I could be like, yeah, I think I can with this. And sometimes it is a matter of inspiration just strikes, and I don't necessarily depend on that, but like my song "Safer" is another one that I sat down and wasn't planning to write a song, and then I did. This one was a little bit more workmanlike. There were bits and pieces and stages, but yeah, I mean, like there's plenty of things to write about from my own life for sure, and occasionally I do. But the most recent projects, I found it's really helpful. I found it's really I feel I've kind of found my voice with basically taking these literary inspirations and translating them into a musical language that I speak.
Well, I would love to focus on Worn Thin. Like, what was happening in the background of that? Where did that come from?
So basically, where that started, the very initial idea, came from a very specific moment, and I could walk you to the exact place I was. My wife and I. This was December of 23. My wife Charity had 7 surgeries for an intestinal issue. They were less invasive to more invasive. We got. It was local here for the first 2, but then we were sent to Philadelphia, the center city, for a specialist, and there were some more failed surgeries there as they kept trying things well, maybe this will work. Okay, let's try something that's a little more serious. So we got to the nuclear option basically later on. So, and that was the surgery that just happened there in that December. It had been a week or 2 since it happened, and we were. My wife, reported to the medical team hey, I'm not totally sure this is holding or working. What do you think? And they were like, you should probably come see us. Come see us today or whenever it was. It was very short notice. And so we headed over and we're driving back, and I talked to my mom on the phone, and she had had a mammogram, then was asked to do a follow-up one just to, check and make sure everything was okay. And they detected breast cancer. And so we were driving back from Philadelphia, and I talked to my mom, and she's like, I've got breast cancer. And I'm like, we'd already been dealing with some storms as it was, and we've been navigating them and trusting God through it all. And then we get another pretty severe one, especially, you don't ever want to hear the 6-letter C word attached to anyone that you love or yourself. Cancer is always a scary thing, regardless of circumstances. And so I remember, so that's the backdrop. And we were in the car going to pick up our son, Luke. And I remember pulling up to the stop sign over at Donegal Springs Road and Muster Road, for anyone who would know about Joy, Pennsylvania. And I just remember having processing and just having this lamenting prayer. Just a very simple one, just crying out to God, I just feel worn thin, I and so it was I feel worn out. I feel, we've already been through so much, and now this, but also at the same time, I wanted to embrace the challenge of coming through for the 2 most important women in my life. It's okay, all right, we're gonna buckle down and do this and get into go mode. As as people, especially as men, I think that we have the something's happening. It's all right, let's fix this. But this was in the moment before I got to the fixing. It was more it was just sinking in emotionally, ugh, what in the world are we going to do? And so I kind of took note of that phrase. I wasn't and that's going to be a song at that point. But I stowed that away. And so then actually, I took part in a masterclass, a songwriting masterclass that John Garrett did. It was a video course, and I had some time just a few weeks later after that, over Christmas break, and was kind of thought maybe this Worn Thin idea could come together with that. Then I joined the 12-song challenge in January of 24 with Resound Worship UK. It's for every month you write a different original congregational worship song based on a prompt. And so the first one was gathering songs, and it's kind of like, well, this is what I have, the idea that I'm thinking I might want to use right now. So I did make a gathering song based on it, and the chorus is very similar to what the finished version ends up being. But then shortly after that, because I kind of kept this around, this was not like a 30 minutes and boom, I've got a full on song, which that has happened, but not here. So I was in John Guerra's devotional songwriting masterclass, where like a little bit after that, where it was me and was it 5 other people, a handful of other songwriters, and we would bring our ideas and like demo recordings and just give feedback and encouragement to each other. And so I think it was John himself, and it might have been some of the other songwriters too, who heard the gathering song version and were like, yeah, this is good, but it feels like you got 2 different ideas. Like it kind of feels like the chorus and the verse are almost like battling against each other for like prominence as far as what's going to be the main idea. So and I related to them, to this group, about the experience I was just telling you about, and I think John and the others were like, well, maybe I'll take that in a more autobiographical direction. And I did. I changed the verses to where they were very much, just kind of raw, just like telling what happened. I mean, there are definitely specifics. I mean, the first line is just home from Philadelphia. But but all that, I think sometimes those specifics can make it more accessible and feel more human and real. So yeah, and then so I honed it. Not the master class, the songwriting cohort was over the course of like 3 weeks, and I just kept bringing the same song back in different iterations, and that group really helped me to form it until I had something that is like, okay, I think this is. It was kind of doughy, fresh out of the oven when I brought it to them initially, and then I, they helped to get it to perfect golden brown and delicious doneness, and then I worked with my friend Stephen Courtney, who is a musician here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, a good friend, and has a studio, and we get together about once a year, even if I don't have any other projects otherwise happening. It's like, we should record something. Let's record this single or that, and it's like, this is what I have this year. So we recorded it, released it, and yeah. Oh, and the other thing I should point out, so something that happened along the way that I almost skipped past, but was maybe maybe one of the best ideas from how the song came together is, so the chorus goes, Lord, I come to you, battle worn, worn thin. So that's the part we were just talking about. But then it comes to this other place that I hadn't initially conceived of when, that December day in 23, where it says, it's in these places you sustain us, and the space between gets worn thin. And then would you meet me in this thin place once again? Like the idea, I guess, I think it's a Celtic Christian idea of thin places. And I'm not talking about geographical places here as much as just like when the distractions and the comforts of regular everyday life, all your normal routines are upended by, unexpected circumstances. And here we had one that we've been dealing with for a long time, and then all of a sudden another big one. And, it felt like bringing that all together. It was like once that chorus came together, it was like, okay, I think we have something here. Like there's lament, but there's also hope. That this is a way of, this is a time and a place to connect with God, and to, to be energized by strength beyond my own.
That sounds like a very new song. How, like when did you officially release that?
So I released this as we're recording this, we're in 25. So I released this on, let's see, I can find the exact date. Oh, October 3rd, 2024. How's that for specifics?
I just didn't know how many opportunities you'd had to play it out live.
A few, not a lot. I did play in the songwriter circle at Hutchmoot like a few days after it was released. Yeah, I mean, and obviously it's meant to. I mean, it's autobiographical, like I said, but it's also meant to, like be relatable, and be like, I imagine other people can have their own experiences where they just felt at the end of their own abilities and strength, and I'll leave it there. Everyone's been there at some point, and as a Christian, like just being able to go to God with that, to bring like a psalm like lament and just say, I don't know what to do with this, like, I'm really like, I'm gonna need some help here. I don't know what to do with any of this. And I will say too that in the midst of the time that I was just describing, that like, you know, people would ask, you know, how I was doing, how we were doing, and I was able to honestly tell them pretty well. Like, we've even had a lot of joy, like a lot of moments of just being able to enjoy each other's company and appreciate one another as a family as a result of it. And I think it's like, you know, when you have, you know, when your faith is tested in a way like that, it would be easy to just say, you know, just chuck it all. Like, you know, when you're just digging in that much more, and you know, you find that it holds, that the anchor holds, that the, you know, your house was built on a rock after all, and that there is a storm, and that's still true, but you know, your house didn't fall over, and you're better and stronger for it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I hope that you're getting feedback from people, like when they hear it, that it's resonating with them too in that same way.
Yeah, it's been. I guess I was where you're going with your previous question too, but yeah, like that has been the feedback, and yeah, it's. I guess I played it. I don't know exactly how many times I played it live, but yeah, it has been received well, and um, yeah, again, it's a bit of a left turn from some of, like, if I'm playing a bunch of the literary inspired songs at a concert. Adding this one in, it's kind of like let me just let you have a look at some of my actual life, and I think that's good. And I will also add, as a epilogue to that too, my wife ended up, so that was surgery number 7. The last one she had was the last one she needed, and everything's been going great. And my mom, within a month of being diagnosed, they caught it really, really early. She was able to have surgery, and I was talking with her one time, and she mentioned someone who was a cancer survivor, and she was like, basically like, and I am too. And I was thinking, like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that term does apply to you now. I hadn't really put that together until that moment, but yeah. So they're both doing very well. But I'm glad that I documented that time, because I mean, yeah, I just didn't know what to do, and I think that there was a lot of healing for me with being able to put it to words, and that then being able to share that, because people can, you know, can look at that and grab onto, you know, be pointed to the same truth that, you know, that me and my family, that we were as well.
Well, Matt, we'd love to have you take us into the song. Yeah, why don't you introduce us to it?
I'm Matt Wheeler, and this song is called "Worn Thin," and I hope that it points you to the hope and the truth that's available, that God can meet you in the thin places of those times that you feel worn thin.
Just home from Philadelphia, felt the force of the news. Didn't know what to do with the diagnosis. Storms on storms on storms, what are we to do? Lord, I want to be there for them, and God willing I will. But I feel I have given all I have to give. Lord, I come to you battle worn, worn thin, worn thin. It's in these places you sustain us, and the space between gets worn thin, worn thin. Would you meet me in this thin place once again? I want to know the deep joy of your presence. At the end of my strength, the light of your face. To live the truth that you're near to the brokenhearted. Through storms on storms on storms, I'm crying for your grace. Lord, I want to be there for them, You are steadfast and true. Lord, I come to you battle worn, worn thin, worn thin. It's in these places you sustain us, and the space between gets worn thin, worn thin. Would you meet me in this thin place once again? Lord, I'll seek you where the space is thinnest. I'm holding fast to you. It's all that I can do. Lord, I come to you battle worn, worn thin, worn thin. It's in these places you sustain us, and the space between gets worn thin, worn thin. Would you meet me in this thin place once again?
You've been listening to The Deepest Cut, part of the Rabbit Room Podcast Network. Audio production and theme music by Isaac Vining. Logo and identity work by Meg Cook. The Deepest Cut was created and hosted by me, Matt Connor. Thank you so much for listening.